Hello, good morning. I thought while I had a few minutes to spare, I would go through a few things with you, including a peel. Now I have done this before, I'm going to do it on myself. I have done this before as a live, but a lot of people still aren't aware what a peel is and whether they're going to go out looking like, their face is being peeled off. A lot of people think I'm going to physically peel something off during a treatment. So I thought what I'll do is go through it with you because I'm due to have a peel anyway, and then anybody who wants to ask some questions as we go can do that. But what I wanted to start with is to talk a little bit about our purifying gel cleanser. Now this is a really fantastic product. It removes excess oil, environmental kind of grime and pollutants, and general impurities. Really good makeup remover, so brilliant for getting off your moisture mat, your foundation, anything like that. But it's still quite soothing and calming if it's used properly. And as with all of our products, it's sulfate free, paraben free, nasty free generally. One of the things that Alumier are very, very keen on is environmental impact as well. And what I have discovered, they've reformulated gel cleanser recently, and I seem to have a few people who appeared to be reacting to it, and I wasn't sure why. So having gone to the Ambassador Day recently in London and having discussed with Diane, our very lovely rep, I understand a little bit more about what's happened. The product is still fantastic. If you've got it and you're concerned, please don't stop using it, but do come and ask me, but have a little listen to what I'm about to say. So the gel cleanser is, like I said, it's a wash, but it doesn't, because of the lack of sulfates, you don't get a big foam, but it is still a wash. Now, they have changed some of the surfactants in the product because to make it more eco-friendly. But what that's done is change the pH very slightly of the product. And as a result, it is making products that go on afterwards it's like they're having more of an impact. It's making everything else a little bit more active, and people have been complaining of sort of slightly irritated skin. So if that has happened, what I'm doing is lending them some Sensicalm cleanser for a few days just to settle that down, and it has allowed the skin to settle. However, the way to now use this is to use a lot less of it. So on the plus side, your product is going to last you an awful lot longer. So you don't need to lather load and load on, you don't need to use sort of even a full pump. And I'm going to show you how to do that because that's going to be the first part of what I do anyway. So anybody who has got gel cleanser or thinks they've had what might be a reaction, it isn't really, it's just made it a little bit more active. And so do have a chat with me if you've got any questions. So the first thing, I have got moisture mat on this morning. So the first thing I'm going to do is just dampen my skin, and I'm going to show you how much I'm going to use. This is actually still the old formulation, but the principle is the same. So in the first instance, I'm just going to use, it's probably about 1/4 to 1/3 of a pump. And you need lots of water. So as you start to rub it, you do get quite a lather, even though it's not bubbly. So can you see it goes white, plenty of water, and you can then massage it onto the skin. So this is obviously for home use. It's great for getting your makeup off. Hi Shelley, hi guys who all of you are watching, hi Shelley. So I've just seen your question, Shelley, is this across all the cleansers? No, this is just the gel cleanser. It's the carrier solution that they've used and the surfactant base. And I only realised it had happened when I had a few people comment that their skin felt a little bit irritated. So it is still a fantastic product there. It's still, one of the best cleansers that we use, but it just needs to be used in smaller quantities, lots of water to put it on and take it off, and use something, and I always advise people to do this anyway, use a cloth to take it off. Now at home I don't use disposables, obviously. I'm looking at a way of using reusables in the clinic as well, but I've got to investigate that first. Obviously the environmental impact is very important to me. You can see I'm taking off my moisture mat from this morning. It's not been on very long, but you can see that the gel cleanser is very good at doing that. So I'm going to do that again to make sure I've got all of that off as well. So again, really, really tiny amount and lots of water. I might have to put a towel on my lap in a minute. Yeah, Shelley, I use 2 types of gauze. I use the soft gauze, the unwoven gauze for general cleansing, and then I use the rough gauze, the one with the wider weave for brightening accelerator, because it is quite rough and exfoliating. It's quite good for sort of stripping back to prep for a treatment, but I don't like using the wide gauze for all kind of cleansing, because it is quite hard, you know, feels quite hard and scratchy, so you do use it initially. But I would really like to use a non-plastic based and less disposable product. I'm always trying to be as eco-friendly as possible. So again, lots of water to remove it. I've now got a towel on my lap because I was dripping. So any problems with the gel cleanser, just give me a shout, because it isn't a terrible problem. It's nothing that can't be overcome. And if you do get any kind of reaction, a few days of Sensicalm, which I will give you, just to resettle the skin, build back up that external layer, and you should be able to go back to it with the method that I've just explained to you. I've put quite a lot of sunscreen on today, just trying to get all of that off. But like I said, lots of water. And then we're going to go through a fairly robust peel for me today. My skin can cope with it. We don't start everybody off on the level of peel that I'm going to do. The peel process is a very bespoke one, and it's a dynamic one. So everybody would start on a far lower level than I'm going to do today. But I'm still not going to have any major peeling issues or anything like that. I might get a bit of powderiness in a few days, and I'll come back and show you if I do. So you can see, wow, I really have gone to town with the sunscreen today. That's what comes with doing it in semi-darkness. Okay, I think that'll probably do. So when someone comes in for peels, you can do them as you go along. There is a process, and there isn't a limit to how many you can have. Frequency depends on what we're treating for and how often you need it doing. And we do sort of blocks of peels for sort of financial viability. It makes it a bit cheaper to do it as a block. But just because you've had 6 or 8 peels doesn't mean that's it. It might be that actually it's better for you to have more, or some people don't need as many in the short term, and it's very bespoke. We always make sure that the right course of treatment is recommended depending on your skin conditions, and what you're trying to achieve. I'll talk more about that sort of pathway in a minute, because all the different skin conditions have a different pathway as well. So what I'm doing now, I'm using balancing solution, which is a skin prep to get the skin ready. It strips all those oils off the surface of the skin to get it ready for the treatment we're about to do, so that it can all the products we're going to use can penetrate properly. I'm going to take it down onto my neck. Oh, and my June offer, I don't often do things like this, but my June offer is anybody who books any kind of peels or treatments for the face in June, I will include their neck absolutely free, which can save lots of money depending on what treatments you're doing and how many you book in advance. Okay, so that's all ready. The first layer of treatment I'm going to do, I've just left over here, sorry, is the very lovely, gorgeous enzyme retexturing peel. So the enzyme peel is bright green, so I'm going to look a bit Shrek-like for a minute. And it's a very gentle, superficial treatment, very lovely standalone treatment as well. So if you have a wedding to go to, a special event, your skin's just feeling a bit dull and you just want a quick pick-me-up, the enzyme peel is absolutely the one to have. Apart from the fact that it smells gorgeous, it's just gently exfoliating. The fruit acids, the enzymes come from fruit acids, citrus fruits, and they're like little Pac-Men, and they nibble and munch all your dead skin cells to leave it refreshed and hydrated and just glowing. Just this on its own is worth doing because it's such a nice treatment. Very good for rosacea, and good for just general skin treatment, and it can be used fairly regularly as well. If you didn't do anything else, you could have an enzyme pill once a week, but it's probably worth doing something a little bit more assertive and spacing them out a little bit more, bearing in mind that your home care is paramount. What you do at home will give you half of your result, and if you're going to do one or the other, I would always say start with the right home care routine before you go down the treatment route. Now, as a businesswoman, that's not the right answer for me, because I will obviously make more money if you have lots of treatments, but what I want for you is the result. So you come and have the you come and have lots of treatments and you'll get a good result. But what I will always do is advise on the best course of treatment and home care. So I'm going to come down a little bit onto my neck, and we're going to leave that on for a few minutes. So bear with me just a second. Hello, Emma's just arrived. She's not used to seeing me here this early. She's probably wondering what's going on. She wondered who was here. At least I've been able to warm up the clinic this morning, because it's, you know, blooming freezing. What is going on? It's supposed to be June. So that's the enzyme peel. Now this feels a little bit tingly, a little bit zingy, which is good. It's active. It's supposed to feel like it's doing something. Not everybody gets the same kind of sensations. I tend to react quite strongly to everything. So before I put my sunscreen on in a minute, I will be beetroot red. Bear with me 2 seconds. But yeah, so the enzyme peel is a really, really lovely standalone treatment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to layer the peels. So when somebody comes to me for the first time, this is probably the treatment they will have as a standalone treatment. We'll get the home care routine sort of nailed down first, and depending on whether you are having, you know, whether you're here for rosacea or acne or something like that, will depend on the advice I give for your home care. For some things I will look at what you're using and quite often say you need to stop using that because that could be causing the problem, and this is what I would advise. For general anti-aging, if you've got a cleanser that you like and your night moisturisers, you know, halfway through, use those first, and I'll advise on treatments to products to drop in around it, and I'll always then give you the prescription for things to replace those with afterwards. So when it comes to peels, the first treatment will invariably be this one. And then a week to 2 weeks later, we might sort of then progress that. For skin conditions such as rosacea, we'll be peeling at least once a month, anti-aging at least once a month. Acne you can treat weekly depending on what you're doing. And we tend to sort of do them a little bit closer together to start with, maybe 2 to 4 weekly. And then you can sort of drop back a little bit. So that first 3 to 6 months is really important, from what treatments we put in, keeping a close eye on your products. If there's something not working, what do we tweak it for? So I don't really sort of try and sort of sell a product or a treatment. What I try to do is build the pathway for you, because what's important to me is the end result, not just getting people through the door and selling a treatment here, treatment there. So what I want to do is explain the pathway and how we're going to get to the result that we want to get to. So with rosacea, for example, we want to reduce the redness right down, we want to reduce that inflammation, we want to, you might have some pigmentation associated with that, and you might have very irritated, uncomfortable skin. So our goal for that would be to reduce redness, get the skin functioning better, make it feel more supple, less irritated. And that process might take 3 months, 6 months, while making improvements all the way along. So that pathway is very important. Keeping an eye on people is very important. So bringing them back for reviews, having telephone consultations, those kind of things are going to be really important in that pathway to make sure that they get the absolute best result that that we need to get, particularly for something like acne. You may have seen my review recently, my poor bride, the lovely Laura, who is getting married 3 weeks tomorrow, and had a big breakout recently and phoned me in an absolute panic. We've brought her in, we've sorted her out, things are improving, we've got some more treatments booked before her wedding. I've got her to bring all her products in, wrote them out for her, what she needs to do, and she knows that she can call me at any point if she has a breakout, if there's any, if she's got any problems with it at all. So that's what this is about. It's not just popping in and out for the odd treatment, it's about getting on top of a problem and keeping that assessment going and keeping the communication going, because without that, I don't know what's happening when you're at home. I don't know if you've had, if your skin's feeling a bit dry, or it doesn't seem to be responding to a product like you would expect. Or one of the things I get is people say that the sunscreen feels sticky, but I don't find this out for weeks and afterwards that they haven't been using it, and it turns out they're using too much. 9 times out of 10, the reason our sunscreen feels sticky is because they're using too much. So I'm just going to say hello to a few people here, because there's loads of people popping on. So hello to Amy and Shelly. I know Shelly said she might pop back in a bit. Hi Kerry, hi Hasida, and oh hi Andrea, hi Joanne, Laura and Karen. Fantastic, lovely to see you all. I know some of you are popping in and out, and that's great. So this has probably been on sort of 3 or 4 minutes now, and as part of a combination peel, this is absolutely fine. As a standalone treatment, this would stay on for 10 to 20 minutes depending on your skin and what we needed to do with it. I could feel lots of tingling all the way around my sort of jawline, across my cheeks, As I said, this light's not very good in here, but you can probably see how pink my skin is probably going now. Or should we move? That's a much better light, isn't it? Hold on. Let's move this across so you can see better. So I don't know if you can see under the green at the minute. Hi, Linda. If you can see under the green at the minute, my skin is quite pink. Oh, I haven't got something the right height. I should have realised that. Never mind, that'll do. Can you see a little bit better now? So what we're going to do is remove the enzyme peel. So again, with the gauze, so you can probably see I'm quite pink now. Most people don't really go this pink with enzyme peel. I've got particularly sensitive skin. I am usually the worst case scenario of what anybody's going to look like after a skin treatment. Most people don't go anywhere near the colour that I go, but this will fade very quickly as well. So by the time my first client comes in at 10 o'clock, I'll be fine. And I've had the opportunity to put my sunscreen on then as well, so that will tone it down a little bit as well. So making sure all of that has gone. There we go. Okay, so had I left it at that now, my skin would still feel absolutely fabulous for the day. But we're going to do another couple of different layers of product. So the next one, I'm going to do up to 3 layers of exfoliation. Any more than that, and you're looking at having standby hydrocortisone to tackle kind of any inflammatory response. So a little tweak here. Is that better? Okay. So we're going to do a radiant peel. The radiant peels are lactic and in some cases lactic and salicylic acid. You must have heard about Cleopatra bathing in ass's milk. So why does she bath in ass's milk? That's because milk contains lactic acid, which is very, very good for the skin. So we have taken that and turned it into Radiant 30, which is back to front on your screen. My apologies. It's a lactic acid chemical peel. And this one is really nice consistency and it goes on nice and easy. You can see nothing to actually peel off here. So what this product does is it is a general exfoliant, helps with skin cell turnover, general anti-aging and very good for surface pigmentation and general anti-aging. So you want to get right up to the edges. There we go. It's much harder to do on yourself, particularly when I'm doing it into a camera. So this one, generally, most people say they don't feel very much from this. Maybe a little bit of tickling, a bit of itching, and a little bit of zinginess, nothing too dramatic. There we go. So any that's left there, I'm going to bring under to do my neck. Don't forget, like I said, the June offer will include your neck with any face treatments of anything that we do for the skin this month in the clinic. There we go. So that's the radiant peel, and this just has a few minutes. This doesn't need very long. Again, nice superficial peel. When we say superficial, I'm a bit tickly there. When we say superficial, we don't mean not very efficient. What we mean is it only penetrates into the epidermis, and the epidermis is the part of the skin that has all of the structures that I'm concerned with. So all of the things that we want to make a difference to. So your pigment producing cells, your collagen, your collagen production, the general hydration, the general condition of your skin, all happens in the epidermis. We're not interested in going any deeper than that. If you're needing to peel down into the dermis, maybe for sort of deeper scarring and those kind of issues, that is really a different kind of level of treatment. This is a very progressive treatment. There's no major downtime from these, and it's a much more enjoyable treatment. It's like having a nice facial, but an active one that you get some nice results from. Now you might be able to see I've not really got very much in the way of sort of static lines on my forehead. Having previously had lots of injectables, Botox, since I started using all the treatments and products that we do, I have very little in the way of injectables. Now, the little bits I would have maybe every sort of year or so now would be if this was getting a little bit deeper again, maybe a little bit on the forehead, and potentially the crow's feet. I don't like to completely sort of smooth everything out, but there is certainly a place for that. But if you don't want to go down the injectables route, and a lot of people don't want to start down that, then actually peels would definitely be the way to go. It's a nice gentle process. Get on top of lots of issues with that without being too aggressive. What I like is when people start coming in and saying, people are asking them, have they been on holiday, and oh look, don't you look great, you look really well. Not what have you had done. We don't do cosmetic surgery. If you want something drastic, then I'm not the place for you. What you want is somewhere, sort of a bit, sort of cosmetic surgeon for those kind of things. Everything I do is a process. It's problem led, it's ingredient led, and it's process led. So we might be looking at 3 to 6 months for an initial kind of package, to then moving on to maintenance after that, and ultimately seeing people sort of several times a year indefinitely to keep those results, address any problems as they arrive. So I can feel this. It's probably had 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to give it another minute, but I've written a few notes of things I wanted to talk to you about, so just to be on the safe side, bear with me. The next product I'm going to put on is Glow Peel. Now this is going to be quite tricky for me to do to myself on camera. We need to not overlayer the Glow Peel. So for those of you who have just joined us, so far we've done the enzyme peel layer, very superficial, little Pac-Man, the enzymes nibble and munch all the dead skin cells, brilliant standalone treatment. Layer I've got on at the minute is the first chemical layer, so we're going to do 3 layers of exfoliation. The first one was the enzyme peel. This layer is the radiant peel. It's a lactic acid peel, and if somebody had sort of breakouts, very large pores, oily skin, I would have done a Radiant 2010, which also includes salicylic acid. My skin doesn't need that. I don't really get breakouts, although I did seem to be growing another friend here the other day, but that seems to have nearly gone now. Bit of detox peel, soon got rid of that. So another minute or 2 with this one. This one needs neutralising. So the lactic acid will keep being active within my skin unless we stop that happening. So we spray it with a neutralising solution. It's a bicarbonate solution to neutralise that from acid to alkali. It changes the pH value. And then clean that off, and then the last layer will be a glow peel. Now, I don't think I've done a glow peel on myself live on camera before, so no laughing, because it's going to be a lot more tricky, particularly trying to do it into the camera. But the glow peel is a lightening and brightening resurfacing solution. It's the most active of our peel products to improve signs of aging, very good for hyperpigmentation, but still very little downtime. You've still got your lactic acid and your salicylic acid, but you also have an ingredient in Glow Peel called resorcinol, and it's sort of a multi-purpose resurfacing solution in effect for fine lines and wrinkles, as I said, pigmentation, age spots, discoloration. Uneven skin tone, so age spots, discoloration, patchiness, is very aging. It's more aging than lines and wrinkles. If you were to sort of study CGI on films where they age actors using CGI, the first thing they do is make the skin tone less even, because it's really aging. So if you can even out your skin tone, look at her. Okay, who are the famous people with beautiful milky white complexions that look really young? Helen Mirren, Nigella Lawson, she's a classic. Even Madonna, the skin tones are very, very even. There's no, sort of patchiness to that. So they might have some lines because of their ages, but they look so youthful because their skin is plump and hydrated and even with no pigmentation. So that's a really key thing to get on before we start worrying too much about lines and wrinkles. Let's sort your skin health out, get it glowing, get the skin cell turnover going, and get it functioning better. The cell renewal is really important. So that skin turnover, when you look at your children and they've got those plump, juicy skin cells that just look amazing, it's because they have very quick cell renewal. Their skin cell turnover is very rapid. As you reach my age, the grand old age of nearly 45, it slows down from about 28 days to approaching nearer 60, and you head towards the sort of 60s and 70s, and that skin cell turnover can ultimately be slowing down towards sort of 90 days, and that leads to dull skin, lax skin, hyperpigmented skin, and we want to speed that up again, and peels are a really good way of doing that. I think that's probably enough for that one, so we're going to soak off the additional peel. So the glow peel is known as a half Jesna, with Jesna being the chap that invented the first peels with lactic acid, salicylic acid and resorcinol. So a full Jesna is 14% of each of those three products. It's quite a deep peel. The glow peel being a half Jesna, 7% each of lactic, salicylic acids and resorcinol. So we need to just neutralise this. Again, I'm not sure I've done this on camera before, I may have done. So this is just a spray. Just let that settle. So a little bit fizzy on the skin as that reacts with the chemical peel layer. Just making sure it's all neutralised. And then one last clean off to get that product off. So again, the peel could be left here, and actually often the first sort of proper chemical peel I will do on somebody would be these two layers that I've just done on myself here. So the enzyme peel and the radiant peel, really lovely active treatment, gives really good results. But because my skin's more adjusted to it, I treat regularly, and my skin can tolerate it now because we've gone up through the layers. I am going to do a third layer of exfoliation, which, as we've just been talking about, is that glow peel. Now, glow peel is a self-neutralising peel, and what that means is I don't need to spray it with anything. It tends to spike. I tend to really feel it. Some people don't at all. And you can put multiple layers of glow peel on. So had I not done the other two layers, we can go up to sort of 2 layers of glow peel. Anything over that, I said we need to have hydrocortisone prescribed for the client. So I'm just going to pour this out carefully. I said the procedure for this is a little bit more delicate. This one doesn't just get slapped on. So ideally we don't want to overlap the layers, because each overlap counts as an additional layer. I will go very red now. 1, 2, 3. Most people don't go as red as I do. So I'm hoping this is being useful for people who are interested in having some peels and treatments but don't really know what to expect. I said I know I'm doing it on me. We have done ones on other people in the clinic, but I thought this was a useful opportunity to come and have a chat with you all. And for you to ask questions if you need to, that there isn't anything too drastic. I think the word peel kind of suggests something quite drastic, and people are often worried about that. And it isn't drastic, it's actually quite nice. I don't often get the chance to lay down and have a nice relaxing chill out while I'm having my peels, sadly, because I usually do them myself. But from your point of view, you'll be able to actually have, a lot of people say one of the best bits about coming in for a peel is that just laying down for an hour. You can probably see my forehead now is going quite pink. That's quite normal, it's action, not reaction. So I'm just going to, this is quite hard to do like this. Like I said, I don't want to overlap those areas. We measure the strength of this, or the action of this, based on comfort. So if we were doing one where we were going to do more than one layer of glow peel, the client would be telling me what their score was on a 0 to 10, a bit like a pain scale. So with 1 being not really anything at all, and 10 being me running around the clinic shouting at someone to get it off. I've never taken anybody to a 10, because if with one layer tends not to go up that high, and if it was too high I wouldn't be putting a second layer on. We don't treat over moles, not because there's any major evidence to show that it's a problem, but just because it makes sense to err on the side of caution. Where did I go to that one? This is very difficult. So if I over peel myself, it's just because I can't really see. Well, obviously we don't go too close to the eye, but I do tend to go through the eyebrow there. So this feels quite zingy now, and quite active. I think people quite like that because they like to feel that something's happening. Okay, I've just got the last of that peel out of there. Very fumey. It goes up your nose. I can't get away from that there. Obviously I can be a little bit more accurate on you because you'll be laid down and I can see better what I'm doing. I'm taking quite wide gaps here between my layers so I don't double up and overdo it. Better to err on the side of caution than overlay myself. So this one will self-neutralise, like I said. I advise people not to get it wet for 8 hours. Get yourself an umbrella because obviously it's pouring with rain. And I'm just going to put some underneath across the neck. So our necks show our age as well. So our faces and necks are exposed to UV rays the most. And I think we've just had the arrival of Lisa. Hello Lisa. Lisa's our, I'm just doing a Facebook Live, my darling. Lisa's our very lovely foot healthcare specialist who is doing a clinic out of here today. And she's very lovely. I might close the door because she's very chatty. Bear with me a second. If you ever want your feet feeling like you're walking on a pair of clouds, Lisa is your lady. Right, I don't think I've missed anywhere. That's quite zingy now. The other thing we can do, and would often do in this point, is put vitamin A on as well. My skin's quite reactive and I don't really want to go that far today, so I'm not going to put vitamin A on, but depending on the peels we do, we would usually finish with a vitamin A layer to really maximise the results of a peel. So for those of you who are worried about what a peel entails, what you're going to look like, what I'm going to physically do, I'm not going to physically do any more than you've seen me doing. I'm just going to finish off with some serums and products in a minute. I don't physically peel anything off. Your skin isn't really massively going to shed. Like I said, if I get any shedding, I will come and show you in a few days' time, sort of Monday, Tuesday time probably. But it's not a scary procedure, it's not painful, it's not unpleasant, and it's not in any way dangerous. These are very superficial, very active, but sort of gentle peels. So the vitamin A I would normally put on 1 to 2 thin layers straight on top of this once the glow has sort of peaked and come down, because this is, I'm a bit of a slow burn with the glow. I'm feeling it really tingly. I'm probably only about a 4 out of 10 actually, which is unusual for me. I can go as high as an 8. I find vitamin A does spike that again back up to an 8 or 9 normally, but most people don't get that. But yes, I would put it on after the glow peel because we don't take this one off. The glow peel says you don't want to get the glow peel wet. So because if in 3 hours time I went out and got caught in the pouring rain, it would reactivate that glow peel and obviously effectively do a second peel. But the vitamin A is where we derive retinol from. So I'm going into far more depth than I was planning today, actually. So your vitamin A adds a retinol, deep retinol treatment basically, with retinol being one of the most important ingredients for our skin. It also maximises the results of all of those other layers that we've just put on, and will also help. No, don't be sorry, Shell, it's great actually, a few prompts are brilliant. And it also maximises the effects of the after treatment. So the peels work, and the vitamin A are your sort of acid peel and your retinol layers. And then the peptide layer, peptide is another very important ingredient. Your peptide layer is your brightening accelerator, which is a serum that goes on afterwards, and again is a leave-on. It's weird, I can feel different pricklings appearing at different places and coming up and down. So I'm just going to leave it another minute or two. And so the vitamin A it's like an additional treatment layer. It's a booster layer, so you are maximizing the results of the other treatments. But I'm not going to do it on me today. My skin does feel like it's had enough, and a lot of this is about bespoke to the client. What's your skin feeling like? What are we going to do? Sometimes one time I might do all of those layers, and another time I might go, do you know what, your skin's had enough today. And you can see often by people's faces that they might have had enough, or what they are actually telling you. But the vitamin A you can do as a treatment layer on its own as well. If your skin just needs a boost, a vitamin A layer can be really brilliant. So all of our treatments tend to have a vitamin A boost as well. If you're using a retinol, I would tell you to lay off it for a few days until your skin's back to normal. Generally, I will let you use retinol more or less up to a peel. If you read the textbooks, they'll tell you to stop sort of 5 to 10 days before. But retinol is a really important ingredient to be getting on your skin every day. So use it, up to or a day or two before a peel, but then leave it off afterwards for a few days. So we're going to finish this off now. This is going to be perfectly timed for my client. Obviously, if you were here in my clinic having this, you'd be laid down, it'd be a lot more chilled out and relaxing, and I would leave you a little bit longer between layers to allow them to sort of really take effect. This one stays on, so I can put the other ingredients and products straight onto it. So bear with me 1 second. So brightening accelerator is, like I said, our peptide-based serum. I did have notes on all of these, but I've just been chatting. I haven't really had a chance to go through it all. Hold on. All right, okay. So let's put it on there. Feels nice and cooling to start with because it's dampening down the glow peel again. It can feel a bit sort of spicy. It can spike that again a little bit. Kojic acid is one of the key ingredients in this, as well as the matrixyl synth 6, which is the branded version of the peptide in the brightening accelerator. Kojic acid is a skin brightening agent. It's derived from fungi, and I don't know why fungi seems to be the thing to get brightening agents from, because it's also got white shiitake mushroom in it as well. So really active product. This has spiked me now, nice and spicy. Wowzers. I said I'm always the worst case scenario of how somebody's going to look and feel throughout a peel. I feel it far more deeply than anybody else does, generally speaking. I do tend to go very pink for a short time, but not for very long. So I can really feel this now. This feels really active, and I probably wouldn't want this to feel any spicier than it does. It was the right decision not to go for the vitamin A as well at this point. So all of our treatments are finished with brightening accelerator. Oh, yeah, I can really feel that. So the final things that we use, so first we would use Recovery Balm. Recovery Balm is just the most gorgeous product. It's soothing, anti-inflammatory. It's just, it would be, we use it quite often for rosacea. Let me just get some of that out. It's very much designed for post-procedure skin as well, to soothe. It will hopefully start to bring down that spiciness. Hinacotil is for redness. It's very good for rosacea, very good for post-treatments. Aloe vera is there. Sodium hyaluronate, so hyaluronic acid, it's an ingredient we have in our skin naturally. It helps us retain water in our skins. Very good for hydrating. It's the product used in fillers. So if you have lip fillers, cheek fillers, it will be sodium hyaluronate. And that's very soothing. I'm still quite spicy, I take a little bit longer to come down. But you can see my skin doesn't look red raw, it's not sort of, you know, it's not painful, it's spicy and active, and that's great, that's what we want it to be. But it's not unpleasant, and no one's going to leave here looking like something terrible's happened to them, and I think that's what people worry about sometimes. The only one of our treatments with any sort of real downtime is microneedling. Thank you, Sharon. I know it doesn't look great, and I haven't even got my sunscreen on yet. Wait for that. Now, I was going to put Versatile Tint on because it's the easiest one to put on, but it's got to be Moisture Matte. Normally we'd put the Sheer Hydration on after a peel because we've done quite a lot to your skin. I don't want to sort of aggravate it. But, so our sunscreens are literally the best things on the planet. This is Versatile Tint. Looks like a tinted moisturiser. So if I show you, you can see it's like almost like a bit of a BB cream. But I'm not going to use that one. It's nice and hydrating, easy to use. But Moisture Matte is by far my favourite. And it was going to make my skin look fantastic. So bear with me. So very thick and white to start with. Some people will have seen me do this on camera before. There's a bit of a knack to applying it. So normally I would pat it onto my skin now and then activate the colour because there's quite a lot of colour. It's like a foundation base. But because of the peel, I'm just going to activate it on my gloves, and you can see the colour appear. There you go. You can see the foundation layer appear there now. And I'm just going to... Sunscreen is essential. If you're not wearing a sunscreen, you need to be. And if you're not wearing an Alumier sunscreen, then you've got the wrong products because they're fantastic. Okay, so make sure you come up to your ears and across tops of your eyelids as well. So increase in rates of skin cancer here. The sunscreen there just protects it. I tend not to bring it any further down to that, but you can get it quite close. I do wear contact lenses, and what I find I have to do is blot across my eyes. The natural creases of the eye otherwise will draw that across onto your contact lenses, and that's game over for your contact lens. So I've learned from bitter experience that I need to blot that to stop that happening. Now my skin looks amazing. I will move to better light in a minute so I can show you. So that's all that colour activated. And so I'm literally, in fact, so you can see how much tint is in that. I'm just going to wipe my gloves off onto that tissue. So if you haven't used Moisture Matte before, that's how much makeup is on there. There we go. And I've just blotted across my eyes just to reduce that likelihood of it travelling onto my contact lenses. Okay, that feels much better. It's not spicy anymore. And I'm going to move to some good light so you can see. So the point of this was to show people that if they're concerned about having peels, don't really know what to expect, that they're not going to leave looking like they've been battered or there's no actual peeling to be done. I'm still quite pink across my forehead. That will settle down quite quickly. But otherwise, you can see my skin is looking pretty good. It's glowing and sort of quite even. I've got a bit of sun damage, which I have worked on. A little bit here. My spot was coming up here. I think that's settled down now. And generally it looks really nice. And so over the next few days that will carry on, it'll carry on working, and by, what day is it today? Friday. If I'm going to get any shedding, it will be Monday, Tuesday for me. I tend to shed around here because I talk a lot, so it kind of activates that peeling a little bit quicker. The skin does shed, even if it's not visible. The skin does shed, so you are increasing that skin cell turnover, but without anything too visible. So if you are concerned about having a peel, that's what it looks like, that's what happens, and that's how you leave the clinic. Even with me being very reactive, I wouldn't walk out of here and have people go, oh dear God, what have you done? Because that isn't what happens. I've now got to be very careful not to get this wet today. Drink lots of water, keep sort of flushing your skin through, because it is a really lovely treatment to have, and a course of these can really make a difference to your skin. Come and have a chat with me about those care pathways, about how we can solve those problems for your skin over a period of time. Or if you just want to come and try one just to see what's what, and you know, sort of you've got an event coming up or something, got a wedding coming up or a holiday or something, you want your skin to look fabulous, come and try one and we can talk about the pathway later on. But that's the route to go down. come and give me a shout. Come and have a consultation. There's no obligation to do anything, but you will get a sort of prescription as part of that consultation. We've got a 3-part consultation scheme now. So the first part is half an hour. It's completely free of charge. We talk mainly about your home care. We touch on treatments a little bit. And then we have 2 other levels. We've got our gold and our platinum levels, where you can pay for the consultation, which will include a treatment as well as some discount on some products. Sorry, I was just interrupted by a call there. That's about my new car, so it's quite exciting. So I'm going to go and talk to them. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely weekend. Come and ask me questions if you want to, and come and book some skin treatments, or at least a chat, so we can find out what we can do for you. I can take that down now. Have a great time. Lovely to chat. I will see you very soon. Bye.